5. To G.B. Smith. While they were at King Edward's School, Birmingham in 1911, Tolkien and three friends, Rob Gilson, Geoffrey Smith and Christopher Wiseman, formed themselves into an unofficial and semi-secret society which they called the TCBS, initials standing for Tea Club and Barovian Society, an allusion to their fondness for having tea in the school library, illicitly, and in Barrow's stores near the school. Since leaving King Edward's, the TCBS had kept in close touch with each other, and in December 1914 had held a council at Wiseman's London home, following which Tolkien had begun to devote much energy to writing poetry, the result, he believed, of the shared ideals and mutual encouragement of the TCBS. Wiseman was now serving in the Navy, Gilson and Smith were sent out to the Somme, and Tolkien arrived on that battlefield as battalion signalling officer to the 11th Lancashire Fusiliers, just as the Allied offensive of West July was beginning. On that day, Rob Gilson was killed in action, but news of his death did not reach the other members of the TCBS for some weeks. Geoffrey Smith sent Tolkien a note about it, and later passed him a letter from Christopher Wiseman. 12th of August, 1916, 11th Lancashire Fusiliers, BEF, France.
My dear old Geoffrey, thank you indeed for Christopher's letter. I have thought much of things since. Most of them incommunicable thoughts until God brings us together again, if it be only for a space. I don't agree with Chris, although of course he does not say much. I agree most heartily, of course, with the part you underlined, but strangely enough not in the least now with the part I marked and commented. I went out into the wood. We are out in camp again from our second bout of trenches, still in the same old area as when I saw you, last night and also the night before, and sat and thought. I cannot get away from the conclusion that it is wrong to confound the greatness which Rob has won with the greatness which he himself doubted. He himself will know that I am only being perfectly sincere, and I am in no way unfaithful to my love for him, which I only realize now more and more daily that he has gone from the fore, when I say that I now believe that if the greatness which we three certainly meant, and meant as more than holiness or nobility alone, is really the lot of the TCBS, then the death of any of its members is but a bitter winnowing of those who were not meant to be great, at least directly. God grant that this does not sound arrogant. I feel humbler enough in truth, and immeasurably weaker and poorer now. The greatness I meant was that of a great instrument in God's hands, a mover, a doer, even an achiever of great things, a beginner at the very least of large things. The greatness which Rob has found is in no way smaller, for the greatness I meant and tremblingly hoped for as ours is valueless unless steeped with the same holiness of courage, suffering, and sacrifice, but is of a different kind. His greatness is, in other words, now a personal matter with us, of a kind to make us keep July 1st as a special day for all the years God may grant to any of us, but only touches the TCBS on that precise side which perhaps, it is possible, was the only one that Rob really felt, friendship to the nth power. What I meant, and thought Chris meant, and am almost sure you meant, was that the TCBS had been granted some spark of fire, certainly as a body, if not singly, that was destined to kindle a new light, or, what is the same thing, rekindle an old light in the world. That the TCBS was destined to testify for God and truth in a more direct way even than by laying down its several lives in this war, which is for all the evil of our own side with large view good against evil. So far my chief impression is that something has gone crack. I feel just the same to both of you, nearer if anything, and very much in need of you. I am hungry and lonely, of course, but I don't feel a member of a little complete body now. I honestly feel that the TCBS has ended, but I am not at all sure that it is not an unreliable feeling that will vanish, like magic perhaps when we come together again. Still, I feel a mere individual at present, with intense feelings more than ideas, but very powerless. Of course, the TCBS may have been all we dreamt, and its work in the end be done by 3 or 2 or 1 survivor, and the part of the others be trusted by God to that of the inspiration which we do know we all got and get from one another. To this I now pin my hopes and pray God that the people chosen to carry on the TCES may be no fewer than we three. I do, however, dread and grieve about it, apart from my own personal longings, because I cannot abandon yet the hope and ambitions, inchoate and cloudy I know, that first became conscious at the Council of London. That council was, as you know, followed in my own case with my finding a voice for all kinds of pent-up things and a tremendous opening up of everything for me. I have always laid that to the credit of the inspiration that even a few hours with the four always brought to all of us. There you are. I have sat solemnly down and tried to tell you dryly just what I think. I have made it sound very cold and distant, and if it is incoherent, that is due to its being written at different sittings amongst the noise of a very boring company mess. Send it on to Chris if you think it worthwhile. I do not know what is to be our move next, or what is in store. Rumor is as busy as the universal weariness of all this war allows it to be. I wish I could know where you are. I make a guess, of course. I could write a huge letter, but I have lots of jobs on. The brigade signal officer is after me for a confabulation, and I have 2 rows to have with the QM and a detestable 6:30 parade. 6:30 p.m. of a sunny Sabbath. Write to me when you get the ghost of a chance. Yours, John Ronald.